Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Square Triangle podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in wrestling, and sometimes the not so greatest in wrestling. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
This
Um,
is a combo episode because our last attempt to record all in had audio issues, so we're bringing you guys a double dose of episode today with both all in and all out for this week, and then next week will be the payback episode because there's a lot more to talk about. A lot more to talk about for this than payback, and there is a lot to talk about. We did talk a little bit about All In, but we got to kind of go over some points there, and then we have to talk about the great show that was All Out.
yes.
So,
From the top, I guess.
yes.
All in, 0 hour, already in some shit.
Yes. The 0 hour show was Aussie Open versus Better Than You Baby, and then Hook versus Jack Perry for the FTW title. Not bad matches. Definitely great hot crowd to open the show with MJF and Adam Cole.
Except for that one bit.
Yeah, which sets up some stuff later. For the main event and everything. We also have a Mercedes Moné sighting at Wembley. They do talk that they want to have her come in to do some stuff, kind of like a per appearance.
They talked about that on the scrum for All Out, and we can get to that later. But TLDR, yes, working on it.
Yeah. Good opening matches to start the show. Better Than You Baby, Adam Cole and MJF are the new Ring of Honor Tag Champs, which will also go into All Out with a match. And then Hook vs. Jack Perry, which started all of the bullshit that we went through all of last week.
Yep.
So
the world's softest man let a 23-year-old get under his skin.
Yep. The world's softest CM Punk. But Hook wins and regains the FTW title, which is an interesting title in AEW. It's just Taz's special title.
Yeah.
But yeah, some pretty good matches. And then we start the main show, which I think when we talked about it the first time, I was like, they're really iffy starting this with Samoa Joe and CM Punk.
Yeah. But given all the context now after the last week, now it actually makes sense. All of it.
Well, I think they were planned to always start, which is like the ballsy thing. Because you would think you'd want people to, wait for Punk. It's like, probably more towards the mid card or something. Or more towards the middle of the card. Just be like, get the butts in the seats, have them stay there for a bit. I mean, if you're paying to be there, you're probably staying for the whole show. So, it was a very Ring of Honor match between these two. Just kind of cementing that rivalry that they've had. I think when we talked about it, one of my favorite spots was Joe swinging Punk through the announce table. Like, not on top of it, but like through the front of it.
Through the bottom, yeah.
Just showing that he's just Samoa Joe and he can do whatever he fucking wants to do to his opponent.
Yeah.
But it does end with a Pepsi plunge and Punk getting the win, still maintaining the now probably defunct Real World Championship.
Oh, it's most definitely defunct now, but we'll get into that later.
Another title reign for the champion vacant. That's a great Twitter account if you don't follow it, by the way. There's a guy who just has a Twitter account for Vacant, the championship wrestler for anything.
Vacant is the new Real World Champion now.
Yes, he is.
What a prolific career they've had.
Yeah,
he's had a very Hall of Fame career.
Man, looking through all these notes again, All In was pretty much the prologue to All Out.
Yeah.
It's like, here's part 1 and part 2 of like a full movie.
Yeah, oddly enough, because All In was pretty much billed as AEW's biggest show ever, and it just kind of feels like a prelude to All Out, which...
Yeah, because the biggest show was All Out.
All Out, which was slightly better, honestly.
Not the bigger show. The better of the two shows was definitely All Out.
Not the bigger show.
But
All In was bigger, All Out was better.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like going into this next match, the trios match between the Golden Elite and Bullet Club Gold with Konosuke Takeshita. I mean, he gets the pin on Kenny at the end of the match, which leads into
Sets up. Yep.
their match at All Out, which was probably one of the match of the nights until, you know, we fucking saw the main event, I guess. So, like, how did they put on
It's
three?
It's still my match of the night.
They put on
I still
three
think it's match of
matches.
the weekend.
They put on
honestly.
3 matches that were just like, okay, you just do this for fun, AEW. Like, you
Yeah.
just put on fucking bangers. A lot of stuff in this match to, in retrospect, really make Takeshita look strong, including just clean knocking out Kota Ibushi with that knee, which is how he put away Kenny Omega when we talk about it later. Just his fucking knee strikes of Takeshita. And it's also a big win for Bullet Club Gold, which goes into their match at All Out, where they also got another big win. A nice little build up for them too. The title match. Well, do you guys have any thoughts about the trios match with Golden Elite and Bullet Club?
Oh, I think it was just a vehicle. It's like we were saying. This is just a vehicle to build into All Out. Which now that I'm looking at both cards next to each other, that kind of sucks. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, they have their biggest show, and it's like it is the prologue. It's chapter 1 to the
It's
like rest of the story.
It's like season, it's like when whatever anime that is, it does. There's the final season part 1.
Oh
Final
yeah, you
season,
mean like
part
Attack
2.
on Titan, where it's
Yes.
Attack on Titan, the final season, part 4 is still waiting to be released.
Yes,
Like-
exactly.
I do have 4 parts to a final season, but anyway, it's just like, yeah, it just kind of felt like there was a prelude to the things that happened at All In. But, you know, they kind of weaved it together really nice. And that's kind of why, if they're going to keep this format, maybe try to do All In and All Out as a 2-parter somewhat.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're just going to go ahead and do that, it would make more sense to just make both of these events a 2-parter. Like, you'd have All In right here, and then you have All Out the following week, which kind of continues All In. So, yeah, when you think about it now, putting those 2 cards together, it kind of makes sense for them to do it that way.
Yeah. I think the just back-to-back weekends helps this a lot. Where it's not like, oh, we got this and then we have to wait a little while for all the rematches. It's like, okay, cool, we're getting instant, you know, conclusions to all this.
Yeah, but we're paying $120 for this.
Hopefully not for much longer, especially if this is a thing moving forward. But he did say like trying to get every like service to agree to the same terms is a fucking pain in the ass. So
Sure. Just, you know, you got to remember people are paying money for this.
yeah.
And it would
Allegedly.
benefit them, and it would really benefit from being on the streaming service right now. So I hope they get that max deal situated.
Yeah. The next match after that is the AEW tag team match for the titles, FTR and Young Bucks, which is a great match that FTR retains in, and then it further leads into their match at All Out where they team up, but they still have this like sense of, you know, we don't really have this cohesion yet, but we are willing to respect each other and actually team up and try to be a decent team. That was a chaotic tag match at All Out. I can't wait to talk about that match. Like,
I didn't get to see it.
that was a pretty good one.
I believe it.
Then we get our Stadium Stampede, which when we talk about the Payback episode, WWE really tried to emulate in a way. And there were multiple times where I thought Kevin Owens probably killed himself during that match.
I still thought that was a wild match, though.
It really was. Yeah, this is just your crazy as shit just match that you can expect. And I mean, we got stuff like Penta being taken to the back with like a faked injury, only to come back out in his Penta Obscuro like costume and everything.
Mentioned the like skewers being put on
The
Moxley's
skewer, yeah.
head.
We got Sue showing up and Moxley giving her a kiss to like have Trent just go ballistic on him.
And let's not forget
skewers.
Penta and let's not forget Penta breaking that ladder too.
Yeah, Penta broke the ladder. Ortiz took out a cameraman by accident.
I think a couple cameramen got taken out at All In.
One thing that I didn't bring up was Eddie beating up the fake security guy when they were fighting in the concession area.
Oh yeah, he just like threw him.
And then we have Orange Cassidy breaking the glass over his duct taped knuckles and just laying into Claudio with orange punches. Very, very fun match with Orange Cassidy getting the win, which again leads into everything that happens at All Out.
I think Orange Cassidy was watching kickboxing the night before he was in that match. With the Tong Po right there. With the glass in the fist.
As it feels like we're kind of like just running through All In. We have talked about it. I mean, we all kind of had the same thoughts about it, where it was a pretty fun show. There were some down points, but a lot of these matches were solid.
It's one of those down points right now.
The women's four-way.
But I wanted to say, we are going through these pretty quickly, but it's because we're going to reference them again when we talk about All Out card.
Yeah, this is definitely like a part 1, part 2, as we've been saying. And a lot of this does help context for stuff. Which is weird seeing we're the without context show. So but yeah, the low point of All In was the women's 4-way title match. And as we said the first time we recorded this, I get it. I just don't think you had to put the belt on Shida to take it off of her. Especially with everything they built up with the Outcasts, breaking apart, you could have easily kept the belt on Toni Storm.
I still think Shida should have got like a 6-month reign minimum. I think she has the talent to carry that division. It's like I said before, and I told you guys this. If they would just let her run with it for a while, it would be great.
Yeah.
But, I guess they were shooting for the moment with Saraya because she had the family there and it was a home country, and that's fine. But
there's a lot that could have come out of this match because it's clear they're breaking up the Outcasts.
Obviously.
You could have just kept the belt on Toni, have Saraya turn on her, and start that, fracture. Or have, Saraya pin Britt Baker. You didn't have to put a belt onto Shida, just take it off of her within 30 days. That doesn't feel good, especially with how rare a title change actually is for the most part in AEW. So I'm just like, why are you doing that just to take it off of her,
It's also an 8-minute match.
It is also an 8-minute match with a very weird finish of Britt trying to lock in a submission and then Saraya taking out Toni for the pin, which Toni could have still been champion going into this match. And it wouldn't have had to hurt Shida. Like, it's just one of those weird... It is one of the weirder booking decisions that they've had recently. It's the one that's actually made me scratch my head a little bit. But man, does that breakup of the Outcast lead to some fun shit over the next week before this show. Then we get a coffin match, which definitely leads into Darby's match against Luchasaurus, where Darby comes out of this match banged up, spine possibly fractured in places, but he says he can still touch his toes, so he's fine.
That's not how that works, buddy.
And just a huge back and forth match with Sting and Darby against Swerve and Christian Cage, with Swerve going into the coffin to lose this match for his team and give Sting a big win in Wembley, who also came out to seek and destroy with half Joker Sting. It was like, we're getting every version of Sting in this one match, which was great.
Yep.
Then we have the Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho match, which this is Will Ospreay's hometown. He's hometown hero going into this. Chris Jericho is just stroking his ego with a live show of Fozzy before this match starts.
This match really turned out a lot better than I thought this was going to be.
Yes, especially considering that it
carried the shit out of him.
Yeah, especially since this was a match we were supposed to have 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Jericho is just still capable of putting on just classics with people. He can adjust to anybody's style, so my hat's off to him.
There was a moment, though, I thought he killed Will Ospreay, that German suplex on the apron. He really just threw Ospreay so his head came down first and not even his shoulders. Which, speaking of people landing on their heads, we need to talk about All Out after all this because god damn it, people are just landing on their heads most of the night.
I'm surprised I'm surprised half of those guys aren't in the hospital, or maybe they were. Who knows?
I want to tell you all. I want to tell both of you this because you guys are like very big on that. Someone landed on their head maybe once the entire pay-per-view. Everyone's landed right there.
Kenny, it's like, so Kenny's came down looking rough though. Like, yeah,
That was the
maybe
angle.
it was probably the angle of the camera, not seeing his shoulder, but like, God, it looked like he came down really fucking hard. So
These aren't the days of Mitsuharu Misawa just like fucking landing someone on a like doming somebody with a suplex.
yeah. But yeah, you're right, X. This match, like, if it's Ospreay carrying Jericho or if it's Jericho actually like putting in his part of this match turned out way better than it had any right to be. Especially just for Jericho's age. I mean, he's still doing a lot of like early Jericho stuff.
Sometime next year, Will Ospreay's contract expires, and
Yep, 6
it's gonna
months.
be interesting to see what happens with him in 6 months.
Definitely. Like I said, as long as he can probably work other promotions wherever he is, I think he's going to stay or come to AEW. I don't think it will be. There's a chance, but it's a very low possibility that WWE actually scores him. Just with the freedom that he has right now.
Right.
I mean, but if they do, we get Ricochet and Ospreay again. So
Yeah.
those guys can run back their G1 Climax match that they did years ago. I mean, it was the first match with the Ricochet, I think, where Ospreay landed on his feet and like it got that meme like turning around to look at him. I think that was a Ricochet match.
I think all of those happened that match.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he gets hit with a Stormbreaker. He kind of challenges Ospreay, like pointing at his chin to, hit him. And he hits him with a hidden blade and then a second Stormbreaker and pins Jericho. And then post-match, Jericho pushes Sammy away and leaves him in the ring as he walks out. Then, I feel bad for this match because House of Black versus the Acclaim got relegated to the pre-show at All Out, which feels kind of bad. Especially after a big win like this.
Yeah.
I mean, we get this great back and forth match. We get Julia Hart taking a bump. Everybody's being able to showcase what they can do. Billy Gunn kicks out of Malachi's protected finisher, which is just really building up the hype of this match. And yeah, Acclaim to win.
Daddy ass, he's badass.
Yeah,
Really done.
the Acclaim to win, and they go right to the All Out pre-show. So, fun times. But then again, it is against Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. So it's like, okay, here's the job squad that we're going to throw against you guys.
Yeah, I don't think that kind of belongs on that pay-per-view anyway. It was good where it was at the pre-show. I kind of don't want to see Jeff Jarrett on a pay-per-view like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did get, when we talk about all that, we did get Dennis Rodman smacking Satnam Singh with the guitar, though. And then staying in the ring long enough to be noticed by the ref, but the ref not calling it a DQ finish. Like, he just kind of hits him and then sits in the corner. So it's like, you gonna make a call here, ref? Like, but yeah, I know we're not doing these matches justice, like just kind of going through them. I mean, if you can watch this show, watch it. There's so much in every one of these matches. Like,
My match of the night is unfortunately Ospreay Jericho.
Yeah,
I am a certified Jericho hater, TM, but that match is pretty good. He can still operate where Ospreay can carry him to a solid 4-star match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I were to go through like all these matches, there are spots and there's storytelling and there's like hype, and every one of these matches just has something for everybody.
Although I will say the main event that we're about to get to right now is a very close second.
Yes. The AEW World Championship title, Adam Cole versus MJF, current tag team partners in a storyline of can they coexist? Yes, they can. And they'll find, and the true championship is the friendship we made along the way. for this whole
And the one
storyline.
MJF retains.
Yeah, and then
And importantly,
MJF.
the one MJF retains.
Yep, MJF ultimately retains. These guys are
They
coming
both
in.
had spots where they could cheat. Is one of my favorite things about this match.
Yes, they both come in as Ring of Honor tag champs, and there's a really good like early back and forth of like, are they respectful to each other? But then MJF starts like poking him in the eye and starts being like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry, that's on me. Like he's just having way too much fun. Everybody's kind of playing a little bit of heelish. Like Cole pulls Bryce, the ref, into him to kind of stop MJF. And it really does get to a point of after the ref bump, because Bryce does take a Panorama Sunrise.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I love seeing Bryce do shit like that.
On Twitter later, he's like with a neck brace.
Yeah, he was wearing a neck brace later on Twitter. But yeah, after the ref bump, you do start getting moments where people could cheat, but they don't.
Ooh.
They have the Eddie Guerrero chair spot where they're tossing it back and forth with each other. And after MJF gets it, Adam Cole falls to the ground to make it look like he got hit. MJF puts a chair around his neck and then lays on the ground to make it look like Cole decked him with the chair. And the crowd is just loving it. Like, this is one of the biggest, that's the applauding moment, like during this match where the crowd's just like, that's hilarious. You have the chance to take out MJF with the belt. He doesn't, and then he gets rolled up to lose. And there's a little bit of tension after the match. MJF's calling out Adam Cole for only caring about the title. Cole gets the opportunity to betray him, but he doesn't. And they come out of this hugging it out and still for right now being friends, but Roderick Strong is pissed. So
I guarantee you, whoever turns on each other is going to be the biggest heel on the roster.
yes.
I see this coming because this is such a great storyline that got everybody roped into it.
Everyone's
They are
invested.
genuinely making people care about these two.
And they continue to make us care as we go into All Out, because MJF and Adam Cole have a match on this card, which they use to build up everything between them. But the 0 hour for All Out, the first thing we have is the Battle Royale for the over the budget Battle Royale. Winner gets to donate $50,000 of Tony Khan's money to a charity of his choice. I just wrote down some stuff here that I liked in this match. Serpentico has a very like comedic moment as he's like trying to pick up Brian Cage to power bomb him, and he's like looking around, he's seeing Brian Cage's trios partners, and you just hear him go, "Ah, crap," and then start beating the crap out of Serpentico. He like looks at him, he does like the little crossover himself, and then just gets chucked out of the ring. And I'm like,
It's a very Hurricane spot.
it really
Like
is.
classic Hurricane where he tries to chokeslam John
he
Cena
was
or
in-
something.
He was in a very like green and black outfit too, so I think that might have been like the homage to it. Sean Spears and Daniel Garcia have a little dance off. Like Sean Spears is just fucking with Daniel Garcia and doing his little dance at him, which is funny.
I saw some video like when Daniel Garcia got eliminated. He was just doing that dance.
He was dancing
up
up the ramp.
the ramp. I
to
just
leave.
fucking lost it.
Yeah, he was doing that up the ramp. It was really funny. Dalton Castle got a Kofi spot where the boys saved him and put him back onto the ring. The boys then caught Angelo Parker, and he told them to put him down, and they kind of agreed and set him down inside of the ring, which was a really funny spot for Angelo, because he just kind of stood there, hands on his hips, like looking disappointed at himself afterwards. It was a very comedic match to start off the night, which I liked. There's a little bit of a section where Trent Beretta and Hangman Adam Page were working together against people, which is really cool to see. And when they had a chance to fight each other, they kind of like opted to go fight other people instead. I'm hoping we see something with that going into the future. I think Hangman Adam Page needs some new friends. So
Well, considering his old friends are,
yeah,
the Dark Order,
yes. So I think Hangman
unreliable at best.
Yeah. The final 6 of the match are Trent, Hangman, and Action Andretti, which was really surprising to see him last this long against Kyle Fletcher, Brian Cage, and I put Toa. Is it Tonga Toa? One of the Gates of Agonies? It's
On the lower?
no, it's a Toa. It's somebody else. It's one of the
I forgot that guy's name.
it's one of the Gates of Agony guys.
Yeah.
They brawl.
Toa
How?
Noa.
I know there's one of them's Khan. I can't remember the other one's name. Shit.
Toa Leona?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah. How? After everything with CM Punk and everything over the last like year and a half with his feuds with everybody, including Adam Page, do you have Chicago chanting cowboy shit? Like,
You know, I wanted to say this on the podcast. You know how bad you have to fuck up for your own crowd to fucking turn their back on you,
yes.
and
Yeah.
like pull up signs of like "Won't miss you, Phil," CM
Yes.
Junk.
I think the
I stand with Tony
biggest
Khan.
I think the biggest middle finger is if Cole Cabana had a spot on the show or not. Like, I think that would have been the biggest middle finger to see.
I think the crowd would have went crazy if Colt came out for one, well, at least the Battle Royal, and he got cheered. And I guarantee you, that would have been the nail in the coffin for Punk's popularity in Chicago if it isn't already. Yeah, he's lost his He's lost his city.
Yeah. Hangman ends up winning after going 2v1 against Toa and Cage, managing to get both of them out of the ring. And later in the night, we hear that he donates the $50,000 to the Chicago Board of Education Fund, being a teacher himself and everything. You know, he does have a soft spot for education.
I will say that's definitely something Tony was already planning to do.
Yes, they just wanted to give it like a stipulation.
Sure. No, I just mean like he was already donating to that charity. They just wanted to have a battle royal about it.
Yeah, they wanted to get everybody onto the show and get everybody.
Yeah, everyone gets a paycheck. I respect that.
Yeah.
It's the WrestleMania thing where everyone gets a paycheck.
It really is. We go into the women's trio match afterwards. Shida, Willow, and Sky Blue against Mercedes Martinez, Diamante, and Athena. Sky Blue did not know she was from Chicago. And so she's hometown girl coming into this. Which is I will take
not
that.
Not dressed as CM Punk.
I know, we had this conversation in the Discord. I thought she came out dressed as CM Punk, and I was informed that that's just the Chicago flag. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I learned something. I don't know what's really going on with Ring of Honor, but Athena is coming out with, I guess, her new like ward, Billy Starks. Like Billy Starks has aligned herself with Athena, which is interesting. I didn't also put my notes here. Mercedes is mommy because good Lord Mercedes Martinez.
Correct.
I know, right?
I was just like, I have missed seeing her on TV. Like,
I will say, the other thing about it is Athena is, I believe, still the women's champion for Ring of Honor.
She is.
She's still Ring of Honor women's champion.
Yep. Enjoying maybe the best reign of a Ring of Honor's women's champion ever.
From what I hear, she is the reason to be watching Ring of Honor.
Yes. She is.
Which I don't.
Putting that.
You know, I don't have. I think that's another service you have to pay for. So.
Yeah.
It's Fight TV.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I just really applaud Tony Khan for giving Athena the chance that she should have gotten WWE to begin with. She's very talented. She was wildly over in WWE when she got there, and they just dropped the ball on her. They just dropped the ball on her.
They didn't know what to do with her. Is the thing.
You let her beat Charlotte. You let the people who are popular beat Charlotte. You stop putting the titles on Charlotte Flair. Like,
I agree, and we'll get to that when we talk about Payback. But you know, not much we can do about it.
Yeah. I mean, this is your standard pre-show women trios match. Every woman gets a chance to showcase themselves. Willow's shown to be this strong individual within the women's division. Shida is always great. And Sky Blue gets the pin on Diamante after Diamante botches a sunset flip. So she just doesn't jump, she just kind of falls back, so it's a very awkward like roll up into a pin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Diamante, this is why you're not on TV much. Like, you've been with him for how long?
She's been there for a couple years now.
Yeah. But it's just like even like simple things. Sometimes it's like, man, Diamante, you're really missing your cues here.
Yeah.
Wasn't she in Lucha Underground? Like she was great in Lucha Underground, right? Or no?
Yeah, no.
Who was with Son of Havoc and Angelico during like their trios reign?
Oh, that was Evilise.
Oh yeah, okay. It was the other one of the tag team that they usually have.
Diamante was with Impact for a while,
Yeah.
I believe, until like 2019, 2020, when she came over to AEW.
Yeah. I keep forgetting because I was like, Evilise and Diamante were a tag team with each other a lot, and I was like, one of them was better than the other one. I just couldn't remember which one was which.
Yeah.
It's definitely Evilise. And then we get the trios title championship match, which kind of a downgrade a week after this big match. You're on the pre-show, but it is a match that has a celebrity involved, so I guess I understand the placement of it. You have Dennis Rodman because you're in Chicago, so you have to have Chicago Bulls there with you. And it was really funny seeing him hit Satnam Singh with a guitar. And like I said, then just hang around in the ring while the ref like notices holding the broken guitar,
right,
and everything. And I'm like, ref, like you see this? Like Rodman did not just get out of the ring like he was probably supposed to. So,
but someone was like, "Hey, get the fuck out of the ring!"
WCW moment, like
yeah.
Because I forgot he was with fucking NWO for a while, also.
I mean, hey, at least it was a pre-show, right?
Yeah. On to the main show, or as I like to call it, part 2 of All In. So,
yeah, no kidding. This is the part without this. This chapter is like a CM Punk-less AEW.
Yes.
They got him out of the Collision intro like that.
They did. They were just like, "Hey, do you still have the files for that intro on your computer?" And it's like, "Say less." It's like, I will.
Give me 30 minutes. I need to make a few cuts here.
Yeah. So we have the Ring of Honor tag team title match. It is Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, Johnny Hungy against MJF and Adam Cole.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty early in the match, MJF is injured and taken to the back, which leaves Cole to fight off 2v1. He does a pretty decent job at it. Like, even Dark Order does their, like, multi-hit combo thing that they do to people, and he still kicks out. They do a double clothesline to him. He still kicks out. And near the end of the match, MJF returns because friendship. And MJF tears through Dark Order, and they retain. Pretty fun match. I mean, these guys went from main eventing Wembley to putting on a great opening match, just to show that anywhere they are on this card, these guys are going to deliver like what you need them to do. And it was interesting, like, seeing MJF presented more as like a tag team champion than the world champion was, or than he was as the world champion. But my business mind is like, he's our world champion. We're not going to let Dark Order beat him up. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I think that was like my thought process. So they did this really good like storytelling thing where Cole's resilient enough to fight, but MJF is still going to come save him as his friend and everything. I enjoyed the match. I love seeing a more heelish Dark Order. I think it's about time, especially if it's just these two and Evil Uno now. And Evil Uno's kind of working as like a manager role for the most part.
Yeah.
Because he was even getting involved too and messing with Adam Cole. Our first of 2 meaty men slapping meat, and we will talk about the second match because this crowd
Jesus Christ
made this show once again.
I don't think I've laughed harder about that at anything in my entire life wrestling wise
the whole time.
So good.
I lost it the whole match once this started going.
This match is Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. This is a very heavy Ring of Honor history match. They spend most of the early part of this match recapping the history for Samoa Joe and Ring of Honor. And it's cool seeing somebody equally match Joe in terms of size and strength for a change. Like, Shane Taylor actually has him on the defensive a little bit. But eventually, because he is Ring of Honor TV champ, Shane Taylor does tap out to Joe to give Samoa Joe to win. not a long match. I think it went like 7 or 8 minutes, but I feel like it did.
Was
I feel like
but I think
6 minutes.
6 minutes. It did what it was supposed to do, though. Like Shane Taylor still looked strong.
But the most noticeable thing they had, that thing that happened,
They did,
you know, and that was
yes.
a great match. It was before the match.
It was
that was
before the
big
match started.
thing.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Let's get to that.
They're walking MJF to the back. He's taking forever. Joe decides, I'm going to come out and get ready for my match. And he pushes him like he did in Brooklyn back in NXT. And MJF doesn't forget. And
He remembers.
these two have a brief little brawl. Joe puts him into a guillotine, which hurts his injured neck a little more. And we're probably getting Joe MJF for the world title as a new feud.
The thing I caught was when Joe shoved him, he just had this little smug ass grin on his face, walking down the ring like, "Hey, you little bitch." It's like, yeah, it was just so hilarious that how he did that.
This is what I love about AEW is the history. It's like it is just that history of everything that they build off of. It makes these feuds make sense.
I love continuity. Okay, and the fact that AEW just dives in continuity at these points, I enjoy that.
Yeah, because if you just had Samoa Joe come out and push MJF, people would be like, "Oh, why did he do that?" But it's like, no, he did it because he did it once before when MJF was a nobody. So, and this was back when Joe was still champion too. Like every time they've interacted, Joe has had a belt. So I like that, and I did like
nice touch
because MJF did go to Twitter about it. He's like, "I'm not the same kid you pushed in Brooklyn," so it's like they're definitely gonna be building on that little bit of history. And I cannot wait to see MJF for Samoa Joe. I'm actually like, that's such a different mixture of styles.
Yep, it's gonna be a good one. Like
I'm
it's gonna be a lot of like,
it.
it's gonna be a lot of Samoa Joe just slapping MJF away and then trying to get a coquina clutch.
Yeah.
And then MJF just squeaking by is how I think that's gonna go.
And MJF cheating, obviously.
For sure.
It depends on whether or not the Cole stuff is over and it's just MJF, but he is going to have Cole on his side also. So that's going to be interesting to see like that dynamic, especially if the Kingdom and Roderick Strong are involved, because then you just got like a mess of Ring of Honor history to build off of also.
Yep.
Then we get to the TNT Championship match, aka we need to write Darby off of TV for a little while. So
we didn't even talk about the casket match.
We kind of went through it a little bit, but we can go back to it, yeah.
Because it's relevant to this match because of Darby's spine and all.
This is
Darby fucking messed up his spine, like doing coffin drops on an actual coffin.
Yeah, this is Darby went in saying, "I don't need my back, and I'm going to show you how little I need my back." And yeah, he got pretty beat up after All In. Probably does have some fractures and stuff like that, but I mean, this guy just keeps doing this to himself. So
he is our age.
He is our age.
Well, a little younger than me, but you know.
Yeah.
By the time he is my age, he's probably going to be in a wheelchair having to walk around with a cane, but you know.
Yes, and this match does heavily focus on his back for most of it in terms of the in-ring storytelling. You have a little moment of Christian telling Luchasaurus to maim him, and then he proceeds to do that by slamming the steps onto Darby and then walking up the steps back into the ring. Which I was like, I haven't seen that before, so that was a pretty interesting take on like a step spot.
Yeah.
Darby did his senton onto a seated Luchasaurus, but like probably hit his back square on Luchasaurus' shoulder, so that didn't help his back at all.
No.
You have Nick Wayne also at ringside, which will tie in later to the finish of this match. I did point out, I did make a note here that Darby hits a really sick looking crucible bomb after he falls off of Luchasaurus' shoulders. Like there's a nice little like twist as he grabs him and just slams Luchasaurus down.
Yeah, because I think Lucha tried to put him in some kind of Argentine backbreaker.
He tried to put him into the thing, and he hit him with the crucifix bomb, like escaping it.
It was sweet.
It was a really good transition into it. you have Christian arguing with Nick Wayne on the outside, and then you have Darby doing his usual, like, I'm going to launch myself out of this ring as fast as I can dive spot.
Yeah.
We then get what I wrote as the closest 3 count in history, where even Bryce stopping his hand is about an inch from the mat. Like, the timing on this, I don't think you could replicate it as realistically as you did with this one. Because there was no slowdown on Bryce either. He got to about an inch, and then Luchasaurus just came up, and I'm like, even the audience was like, that was 3, right? And like, Bryce was like looking at like the timekeeper to like make sure it's like, that was two. Like, the craziest, like, closest count I've ever seen, at least in recent years. Like, that was impressive.
It even confused Bryce himself.
It even did, because he was like he had to stop and think. It's like, that was 2. Like, but we then get into the finish here where Luchasaurus just destroys Darby Allin, hits him with double pile drivers, a lariat, and then this was after Darby hesitates because Christian has Nick Wayne outside about to do a concerto to him. So Darby has to choose between Luchasaurus or Nick. Goes for Luchasaurus and then takes the double pile drivers and the lariat. And then Cage is about to do a concerto to him, but the locker room comes running out to save Darby, which we pointed out, or you pointed out in the Discord. It shows how good your mid card of this company is when people like Trent Beretta are still there and he's being like showcased as like main event
mid-carder,
like a high level, low high card, wrestler. But it was also cool just seeing like the locker room come out to stand against Christian Cage. Like, you can tell everybody's getting tired of his shit. Like,
hell yeah, he's the most evil heel in AEW right now. I mean, he even puts MJF to shame as a heel. So,
and like I said, just when they cut to him backstage having like the soap opera lighting, I'm like, God, I hate him. Like, it's such a good touch to his character, though.
Yeah, he's basically Stefano DiMera from Days of Our Lives. Like, that dude's just a master soap opera villain. Like, I love Christian Cage, I really do. And like I said, he is so much of a better heel than Edge ever was, man.
That is a reference, but
it's true though.
in
Then
the 1990s, a sitcom called Days of Our Lives.
It's still going.
I know.
Yeah, it's still on TV.
I looked up. That show has like 32,000 episodes.
WWE Raw could never.
WWE Raw could never, because that was like
never.
That show was like a daily show, right?
Yeah, Monday through Friday since the 60s. Like, I'm like, oh, One Piece fans could never. Like,
honestly.
Then this is the point of the night where the crowd really starts to get into this show. I think this is the point where
slapping meat.
I want to say this is probably the point where the alcohol is starting to kick in a little bit.
No shit.
The Henny is brewing in everybody's stomachs.
The $20 beers at this arena are starting to kick in because they take over this match in the best way possible. It's not disrespectful, but it is comedic.
It is great.
We get an incredible matchup of Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs, and I like both of these guys, and I love their chemistry.
And they have a really good chemistry in the ring.
And the fact that after the match, Hobbs attacks him means that the feud's not over, and I can't fucking wait.
Good. So, I need more of this anyway. I need more of it anyway. Thank God.
So I put in my notes, big meaty men slapping meat, because that is our go-to meme for these kind of matches.
And the motherfucker Excalibur said it word for word.
Word
for word.
He did say it word for word on commentary, which I don't think we didn't come up with it. This was something I think What Culture.
A shirt on like T Culture or something.
Yeah, I think What Culture is what started the actual like joke though. The crowd heckles. I noticed that the crowd was heckling Hobbs a little bit. I think somebody said something to him, and he said to one of the guys, "I'm not from LA, bitch." Like, he said something to a guy in the crowd. So
his theme song literally says Palo Alto. That's not LA.
Yeah, and it reminded me of the
Winnipeg, you idiot.
it reminded me of the NXT or the early roster showing of Io Sky when she's talking to somebody, and somebody in the crowd's like, "Go back to China," and she's like, "I'm from Japan, bitch." Like,
yeah. There's another one. There's another one where Jericho's like, "I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot."
yes, I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot. I love when people don't know where wrestlers are from and try to insult them with it. I put here, if either Hobbs is just this good or Miro's doing a great fucking job making this kid look good.
I think it's a little of both.
It's definitely both. Like, Hobbs was good.
It's a little of both. Like, Hobbs is just so good, and Miro is just Miro. These guys put on probably one of the best big man matches I've seen in the last couple of years.
No title on the line.
Nothing.
They just came out and were like, you know what? We're gonna fucking do this. You want a hoss fight? You got a hoss fight. And Miro selling like hell for Hobbs, which is great to see. We then start getting into the chants. We get meat. We get slap that meat.
There's just some guy in the crowd that's randomly yelling meat.
The meat forever chant is what killed me.
That killed me too.
Meat forever.
This match turned into Sunday Night Meat.
Good one.
That's what this was.
Miro wins by submitting Hobbs. There's a little bit of hesitation on Miro's part post-match, but they do show a very Predator-esque handshake with each other.
Son of a bitch.
Hobbs, you son of a bitch. And then he hits him from behind. Hobbs, you son of a bitch. Yeah. And then it's a great appearance because I wasn't expecting it, and I didn't expect the Titantron to say hot and flexible. But CJ Perry, Miro's wife, has arrived in AEW. She is Miro's hot and flexible wife.
And Nigel McGuinness immediately with the call of the night. It's the what did he say? It was it's the meat, Mrs. of the meat or something like that. It was fucking great.
Nigel McGuinness was on his fucking game. It was so
he
good.
was.
Nigel McGuinness knows the assignment.
Oh my god! In terms of just enjoyment factor, this was my match of the night. This match was so fucking funny.
Good.
If I wanted to get somebody into wrestling, and it's like, what's the wrestling culture like? This is the match that I would show him from beginning to Lana's arrival. Because it's the perfect blend of just nonsense.
It is.
It's so good. And then we get a down point, a little downward energy, which I don't think is any of the ladies' fault. I just think it's the time that they were given. The story going into Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander for the TBS title is Chris has never beaten Ruby, which should be interesting. But then you also have Saraya kind of hogging up the attention a little bit and screeching from ringside. Ruby has a lot of offense in this, but Chris is shown to be resilient. She's kicking out of No Future and Destination Unknown, slammed into a barricade. She did the triple kick up at the beginning of the match every time she was knocked down. And as Ruby is about to get the spray paint, Tony Storm arrives to distract Ruby.
Storm had to have been under that ring the entire pay-per-view so far.
She was definitely in like, I am a 20s actress at home, out of work. Like, she's in like the lace nightgown, a robe. She has her hair up. I don't want this character to go away.
Like, I love the fact that she just gets more and more unhinged with this gimmick every single week.
You see her during the Renee review?
New.
You see her during the narrative? She looks like she's on Benny's half the time, just like a true like 1940s actress.
Yeah, like Benny's or opioids, one of them two.
And then she throws a shoe. Like, there was a moment on commentary where they were talking about, or I think in the in-between matches with RJ and Renee doing like the audience work and everything, they were like, it's like, I don't know anybody who throws a shoe. And the thing I thought of is Hispanic families. Like, that was like, the whole thing with Zelina Vega, like against Rhea Ripley was throwing the shoe.
Chanclas.
Yeah. But but she distracts Ruby. Chris retains, and I don't think this match makes Chris look stronger. I think like she got lucky in this match is the kind of the feeling that I'm walking away from, which probably isn't a good feeling to have about a champion.
In the media scrum, she said she would want to take on anybody, including my personal pick is when she comes back, Jamie Hayter.
Yes, I want to see Chris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter, because looking at stats physique in this match, she has put on some muscles. Like,
yeah,
her thighs are huge. She can crush watermelon.
like you go to her Instagram, all she does is like she just works out constantly, you know, and it's starting to show too. She has put on a lot of muscle, and she's a lot stronger than she was, bad knees and all, and it shows. She's putting in work.
I mean, she was lifting Renee during their promo that one episode. Then we get this match. One of my matches of the night. The Bryan Danielson, Ricky Starks strap match.
Oh boy.
To set up some history here, Starks wanted to challenge Ricky Steamboat to a match, but the contract said Ricky Starks and the Dragon as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He says, "Gotcha. Bryan Danielson's back. And you're going to be taking on him in a strap match." And Ricky Starks looks very tired at this revelation, but decides to go through with the match anyway. And in the media scrum, I remember hearing that Starks was able to meet Danielson's like intensity in this match. Danielson still couldn't really use his right arm a lot, so
Starks was carrying Danielson, which is something that's not a sentence you hear.
He was carrying. Danielson wasn't at his 100%, so Ricky was kind of leading this match, which is crazy.
It just goes to show how good he is.
I did make a note here. The bell hasn't rung, and Danielson's bleeding. I think Mox is going to take offense to this. So,
it's that a little bit.
Bleeding faster than Moxley would in a match.
I seriously had to ask y'all if Bryan Danielson was still a heel, because he came out to the final countdown. The crowd just absolutely lost their minds. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's still in the BCC, right? He's still a heel.
During the media scrim, they did talk about that. The BCC is not a heel group. They kind of walk the line.
Interesting.
It just depends on who they're beating up that week.
Yeah, and it's the thing of like, yeah, Danielson respects and loves Ricky Steamboat because Ricky Steamboat refereed like some of Danielson's earlier matches.
Yeah.
And was a producer for him when he was in WWE. So it makes sense that he would go and defend Ricky Steamboat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get a really good strap match. Like, these guys are just tearing into each other. This is the kind of match. I can't
describe it other than intense.
It is intense. It was just an intense match. We have a brief interference with Big Bill, and that's when Ricky Steamboat gets involved. Then Danielson goes over the top rope and wipes out Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and we don't see Big Bill for most of the match afterwards.
Yeah.
If that strap is like a couple centimeters shorter, he's hanging somebody.
Yeah.
That was the perfectly measured strap for that top rope dive.
It really was. It's just a brutal match, and then it ends with Danielson choking out Ricky Starks, which adds to Ricky. He didn't get pinned and he didn't tap. He chose to pass out, which is a great showing of like resiliency in a way. I did have to make the mention, considering that Ricky Starks is one of the African American wrestlers. I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about a white man whipping him this hard in a match. So.
Yeah, and I can understand y'all being uncomfortable about that, because
luckily it didn't go on.
Think about that for a bit, but
it didn't go on for too long. But like, he had him against like the corner, and then he like stretched out, and I was like, I am uncomfortable.
Like, I know, but like I said,
me and X's POC are like, eh.
But the thing was, Ricky Starks was beating the piss out of Bryan Danielson with that strap earlier too. Like, he was laying into him.
They did get equal amounts of laying in. It was just that one thing. I was like, oh man, you have like Ricky Starks against a pole, like getting whipped on his back, and I was like, just optically, that's not great.
That was definitely a case of bad optics right there. But
yeah,
somebody in the back
not to mention the part where he's like just lynching him towards the end for the finish.
Then he was like hanging him, and I was like, oh my god. I'm sitting there and I'm like, we're in the Discord. I'm showing this in our Discord channel, like live stream for like Duck and them, and I'm just thinking to myself like, oh my god, it's like this is what they're seeing. But I love this match. It is definitely
great match.
It is definitely one of the most like wrestly matches of the weekend. Just like old school like wrestling. It was so good.
That was it was my match of the weekend until we'll get into that shortly.
Then we get a rivalry like conclusion, I hope. Kingston, Shibata versus Wheeler Yuta and Claudio. I mean, Claudio and Eddie just hate each other. Like, this is just going to probably be an eternal thing in AEW, like, character-wise. They just can't fucking stand each other. And even in a post-show interview, Renee's interviewing Claudio, and it's like, do you think this finally ends the long-time rivalry between you and Eddie Kingston? And Claudio's just, fucking hope so. Like, it's just like one of those, like, things like, I'm so done with this man. Like
with Eddie Kingston, it never ends.
It doesn't.
Someone tell him that.
I tell him wrestling's not real.
There was a funny moment that I jotted down. It's somebody in the crowd yelling as Eddie's getting his shit kicked in by Claudio. Somebody's like, "You got this, Eddie," and Claudio looks at him. No, he doesn't. No, he didn't. Like, it was just one of those like funny like audience interactions we get every now and then. And when Claudio and Shibata stepped into that ring, God, I just want more of that.
They're killing each other.
Oh, I really, really want Claudio and Shibata to be like a running thing because these two are so good together.
Something that I was not aware of going into this match was there was a promo. What was it? The Rampage before, or maybe the Collision before?
Mm-hmm.
It was Claudio talking, and Eddie Kingston was like, "Yeah, I beat your boy Yuta," and he's like, "Oh, you beat my boy Yuta," and he just fucking European uppercuts him. He goes, "We beat him all the time in the BCC." And he just keeps uppercutting him, beating the shit out of him.
There's a picture on Twitter, and it's like the boys are back together, and it's the BCC doing that pose they did with Regal, but it's just the four of them. And it's like, fun fact, Claudio beat up Yuta before and after this photo. Like, so it's just like this running thing. And I mean, they kind of showed that too, where Claudio threw Yuta like a fastball special at Shibata. So now Wheeler just being used as a weapon. Like,
he also did the thing where like Shibata was setting up for like a California Dream, and like he caught Claudio and was doing like an ankle lock. And he kicked him out of it, and the way he kicked him out of it,
he fell over, and it applied more pressure to the leg lock that he had on.
And then he just got out of the ring after that.
Yeah.
Yuta was screaming after that one.
It was really good.
Wheeler Yuta is the whipping boy for the BCC, and I love it.
That spot was really good too. The getting the leg lock in on Yuta, and then Claudio like hit him, but Shibata's just like no selling it. And then puts Claudio into the ankle lock, and I was like, God damn, I fucking love Shibata so much.
Simply built different.
He is built different.
I'm so glad he's back.
There is a funny moment where Eddie gets slapped by Wheeler, and then promptly lays Wheeler out with his own slap. Like the man took offense to it. And I just love Eddie's energy in these fucking matches. The backhand takes out Claudio, and they push Wheeler Yuta into a sleeper hold. But then Claudio, just showing how strong he is, knocks Eddie out with a European uppercut and gets the pin, while Shibata is still putting Wheeler Yuta in a sleeper hold outside of the ring. And yeah, just like, even commentary's like, I've never seen a match end with a European uppercut. Like, that shows how strong Claudio is as just a person. But Claudio gets the win over Eddie, and I don't, in any part of myself, believe that this feud is over. I don't think Eddie's going to let Claudio walk away with a win over him.
You'll never
definitely
know when an Eddie King. The only reason an Eddie Kingston feud ends is because Eddie Kingston is injured,
Yeah.
or he's
And on
in
top of
Japan.
it, and on top of that, I think we're heading towards the second Ring of Honor World Title match between these two. I mean, that's the
Probably.
only way this ends.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Give Eddie his big win when you're ready to get Claudio out of the picture.
Yeah.
And onto
they're
something
ready
else.
they're ready to give Claudio a break or whatnot.
And then we get to the match, probably of the weekend.
The match of the weekend.
We'll say the last 2 weeks. I think this match takes over anything from All In also. In terms of just style and just in-ring work. We get the Omega versus Takeshita 1-on-1. Omega comes out in his DDT gear with a little bit of history that Omega is currently 2-0 on Takeshita in their singles record. And this match is just pure New Japan DDT. Like, this is just full on, just Japanese style. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Especially on Takeshita Zine.
Yeah,
Because my God.
I put the note here. Why do Japanese wrestlers hate necks? Like, it's Japanese wrestling is do you have a strong neck? No? Okay, well, we're going to get you a strong neck, and then you're going to be used to wrestling here.
I've said this a few times to my fellow co-hosts, but they do not land on their head more often than not. There's outliers, but they usually land on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's usually good. The cameras are just in a really good place most of the time to catch that they're landing.
I swear
on their
that time
head.
Kenny landed on his head, though.
Even if he didn't, even if it was still on a short spot, there was a lot of, I think Kenny got way too much, like, he got too much air on this move too, that it probably made his landing a little weird, because he looked like he came crashing down, which was...
I mean, it almost reminded me when Charlotte Flair did that not too long ago in a match where
where she just over-rotated and landed on her fucking face.
And landed on her forehead somehow, her face.
Just, Charlotte, I'm gonna sell my ass off for Rhea, even though she doesn't need it. Like, yeah, I mean, these guys are just laying into each other this whole match with knees. They're just taking knees and taking knees and taking knees. This
match goes into I need to make it again. I had a playlist of matches that I would put when I go and fly.
Yeah.
And I had one of the matches I had was Bryan Danielson versus what's his name on commentary? We were just talking about him earlier.
Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah, the unifying match for the ROH Pure and the heavyweight championship.
Yeah,
and just matches like that. And I have a bunch of those that I would have when I go to fly, just to have something to focus on when you're in the air.
Yeah,
this match goes into that playlist.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a match that people are going to be talking about. Maybe not instantly, but like when they look back at Takeshita or Omega's careers, like this is going to be one of those matches.
Yeah.
Takeshita is going to be a main eventer. He is going to be a champion, whether it's this year or the next. That guy is a superstar in the making.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if WWE is also looking at this guy, even though he's probably not going to be leaving AEW for a while. I do think, once they figure out the whole promo situation with him, he becomes AEW World Champion at some point.
I don't think they need it. Like, that's the thing. Like, just his presentation has helped him as like a character where he's just...
Don Callis has done a tremendous job with his presentation. Even his entrance music just sounds menacing.
We talk about that. It's just low drones. It's not even like music. It's just like he's the villain coming to fight you. Like he is the big bad of the season. Is what it feels like. Takeshita is just an amazing talent right now. Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
Just give him that kind of, as long as he's heel, just give him that kind of music. Like you can add probably like a little like, maybe like a little like a dark synth to it, but like keep those like low droning, like just atmospheric like entrance. And I mean, this guy's presented like, I might not be the final boss, but I'm gonna make you work for this. Like, that's the kind of enemy that he feels like in this world of, AEW is like,
He feels like the ruby weapon of this company.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
The screwdriver comes back. The ref gets it out of the hands, so he can't use it. They go on for a little more. Takeshita drops the knee pad, nails Kenny with one of his knees, and gets a clean-ish win over Kenny Omega.
It was just about all clean.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, this
this
is
is
Kenny
a
going out on his back
Very
for
strong
Takeshita.
victory, I
Yeah,
think.
is building the story too that Kenny can't win without Don in his corner. Like, that's kind of the story that they're building off of. Like, Don Callis is the difference between these stars.
Mm.
But I mean, Takeshita came out of this match looking like a legitimate fucking threat. And I know there's only one world title, and you can only have so many people in it. But goddamn, dude, I can't wait to see Takeshita for like for the international or the TNT title. Like, just get a belt on him right now or something.
There's
Yeah,
no
you
more
gotta
real
do something
world
with him.
championship. Finally.
Hey, Takeshita, you are the real world champion. Like,
Probably just fucking tosses the belt like he's Naito or something.
this match is a classic, instant classic. Like, it's just
Really
that good.
It's for sure the match of the weekend, probably the match of the fortnight.
So this
It's in
is
my
2
top 10
weeks.
this year.
This is 2 weeks, of 2 weeks of events, and Kenny has been pinned by Takeshita twice.
Mm-hmm.
One, a little iffy because he was distracted, but then one, very solidly, he has been beaten.
Very the dominating match. Like, there was a couple times when we were watching, I was like, "Oh, does Takeshi just win here?" And then he did. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, he dropped the knee pad, hit him with the fucking knee that he took out Kota Ibushi with, and then, yeah, great fucking match. And then the crowd is probably riding the high of that match. So we're not going to jump right to the main event, of course. We're going to throw in another match so you guys have a little bit of time to cool down. And that is the FTR and the Young Bucks versus Bullet Club Gold. This is building off of the Bucks and FTR's match at All In and Bullet Club's recent win as well. This was a chaotic 8-man tag team match.
Yeah, I kind of expected that. Like, I don't know. You have these 8 people in, and you just there's too
Do you
many
have the
names in here
times?
that are like they're gonna just go nuts.
Do you have the match times?
Yeah, I do.
How
this
long was
match
it? I'm gonna say this
21
match.
minutes.
Yeah, okay. This match felt like a long 20 minutes, because it's very slow at the start, but then it just like breaks down, and the rules don't matter in an 8-man tag team match anymore. Because I also think it's no DQ, so they can just do whatever. Bullet Club Gold bring in the comedy like they normally do. Juice Robinson is still. He's earning his spot on this roster.
The juice is letting loose.
The juice is loose. Compared to the reception that Kenny Omega got, this crowd is hostile as hell to the Young Bucks. Anytime one of the Young Bucks got tagged in, this crowd let them know, we don't want to see you in this ring.
Oh yeah, that's in my notes too. Chicago was just not fucking with the Bucks this time, and which is weird because they love
cheered
Omega,
Hangman.
but it comes to them.
They cheered Hangman, and they
cheered Kenny, but the
even
Bucks,
if they didn't
I guess
cheer,
they draw the line.
Even if they didn't make it overly long, they didn't hijack the Kenny match. They're making it known they don't want to see the Bucks in Chicago.
Like, what the hell did the Bucks do to Chicago, man?
The Bucks are perennial shit stirrers, is the thing. And as much as, it's fun sometimes, when, it reminds me of like a PG version of the Click in
Yes.
the 90s.
Yeah, I can see
some
that.
people love that and some people don't.
Yeah.
I kind of see that.
This match is just 20 minutes of chaos. I mean, you got all 8 men in the ring, 4 sharpshooters going on. to the Bullet Club Gold, which was a funny little spot. They're all trying to stop each other from tapping too, which was pretty funny. But the main focus of it is the teamwork. Bullet Club Gold is all on the same page, and you have the Young Bucks and FTR who respect each other, but are still wary of actually being a team with each other. And it shows when one of the Young Bucks tags himself in, there's kind of like hesitating looks from Cash and Dax. So they're all not on the same page.
Good storytelling.
Very good storytelling. I lost count of how many false finishes this match had.
Again, it has the Bucks. There's going to be false finishes.
There were so many.
It's a typical Bucks match.
About halfway through the match, the Bucks and FTR do start finding some teamwork. We're seeing half of each team kind of working together. We're seeing Dax join Matt Jackson doing their like double knee spot that they do after the super kicks.
Yep.
We see one of the Young Bucks, I think, help with a shatter machine.
Mm-hmm.
So you start seeing a little bit of teamwork, but again, Bullet Club Gold is all on the same page. They managed to get in there and break up the pin and get a pinfall before Nick Jackson can jump in. And Bullet Club Gold wins after they pin one of the champions. So I think we're starting to probably see, hey, look, Bullet Club Gold is probably going to be the next in line for the tag titles, which will give us a new, babyface tag team to come up into the ranks. So, but yeah, this was a chaotic match, and it did kind of help, I guess, cool down the crowd a little bit. For the first of two first-time main event matches of the weekend, we will talk about the other one on Payback, because that is a travesty that is the first time that Shinsuke Nakamura main events a pay-per-view.
It's criminal.
It is criminal.
What it is.
The international title match is the main event, considering that your world title was just defended and they were in the tag team match earlier. This is like their second big title, I guess, in terms of prestige, considering what Orange Cassidy has given this title. Orange Cassidy,
38 and
32.
32
title defenses.
Yeah.
I think 31-1 is the end result. Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley, the two aces of AEW, as far as I'm. If Moxley's not there and needs somebody to perform, I think Orange Cassidy could be that guy.
He needs a vacation first, though, because good grief.
The thing is, I thought Mox was going to go over.
Talk about Orange.
Both of these men need vacations. You could have made this a triple threat and let the third person win. I put it in my notes here. Moxley may not be the final boss of AEW, but he's the skill check.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the first boss in any From Software game where if you can't beat him, you can't play the game.
Yeah.
That is the equivalent.
Sounds like someone's played Armored Core.
Yes, I uninstalled it too after I couldn't beat Baltris. So,
skill issue.
Chapter 1, final boss. Can't beat him. Skill issue, uninstall the game.
Skill issue, difference in skill. Anyway.
The story of this match is Orange Cassidy is broken down. He's 320 something days as champion, 31 title defenses going into this match. It's strength versus speed. Moxley is definitely the stronger of the two, but Orange Cassidy has the speed. And it just turns into Moxley beating the shit out of Orange Cassidy for a little while. As you would expect.
Yep.
Orange Cassidy gets busted open. He's wrestling this match in full Crimson Mask.
Interestingly, Moxley did not get busted open.
Moxley did not bleed.
Not once. The whole match.
But fuck, man. Cassidy made Moxley work for this win.
It was a really good match.
I don't think we've had Mox have to wrestle this hard since the Bryan Danielson match.
Yeah.
And any of his world title matches. Most of the time when Moxley is in a match, he will destroy his fucking opponent and make it look easy. But Orange Cassidy made him earn this win from him, which is just once Orange Cassidy comes back from whatever fate break he's getting from all of this, put him into a new title picture. Like, this man could be one of your top guys for years.
Honestly, just toss him
Oh
into
no,
the
because
TNT
he's like
title
40.
picture.
No, because he's like 40 something. I keep forgetting that. Like, Orange Cassidy is like actually up there
Yeah.
in age, even though he doesn't look like it. This match has a lot of great technical wrestling from Moxley.
39.
Yeah. Moxley did a lot of technical wrestling this match. It's like, it wasn't a lot of brawling. He actually was like on the mat wrestling. And it just shows that Moxley's a jack of all trades. He can do whatever style you want him to do. We get a very Roman Reigns-esque spear onto Jon Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
He runs the ropes and then hits him with a spear. And I was like, that's very Roman-esque. He hits him with Death Rider. Orange Cassidy kicks out. Again, a very protected finisher. Being kicked out of, which just adds to the drama of this match, because it just shows like Mox is like, what do you mean this was not a 3 count? He gets up.
The script.
He gets up. Orange Cassidy's just looking defeated, but even to the end, gives him his 2 fingers, takes a paradigm shift, gets pinned in the middle of the ring. Just defiant until the end. Orange Cassidy.
Very reminiscent of the finish to Jericho and Ospreay.
Yeah. I mean, Orange Cassidy is that guy. Like,
Orange Cassidy is that guy, and he needs to be. He needs a vacation.
his tweet after the
needs to
event. His tweet after the event was, "I'm gonna go lay down." It's like,
Me too, buddy.
So am I.
yeah. So he's probably going to go away for a little while. I mean, he probably does have some lingering injuries from all the matches he's wrestled. So this might be a good break, and I can't wait to see him come
Probably
back.
Not even. It doesn't seem to be like, watching him wrestle and whatnot. And I know there's certain ways you can wrestle, and it's like protected.
Yeah.
But you can He doesn't seem like terribly injured. It's probably like lingering bruises and stuff.
There was a good spot in this match, which just shows that Orange Cassidy does know character development. He came in as this character, and you've slowly seen him leave that laid-back character. He starts doing the little kicks, and then he starts kicking the shit out of Jon Moxley.
And he was like laying into Moxley with some of those kicks too, man. I was like,
Yeah,
damn.
his little leg taps just became full-blown kicks, and I was like, this is it. This is the character development. Like, I can't be that lazy guy anymore. I'm gonna have to beat the shit out of Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. How is your biggest show not the better of the 2 shows?
Nope.
They were just like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, we did our biggest show of all time. We can only go up from here. Go out there, put on bangers. Like,
Because I think
Yeah.
All Out, and regarding all the stuff with CM Punk and all of the stuff that happened this week,
oh, they had a point to prove.
Yeah, they had a sense of urgency, and
They're like-
it showed in All Out.
They're like,
Like,
no,
if
they're like, no,
if they had
CM
just-
Punk doesn't make this show.
No,
Our fucking roster makes this show.
and they went out there and they proved that in spades. And I think if they had brought that energy for All In, I think All In would have been a lot. I mean, it was a great show, but it would have been even better, But like I said, they had a huge sense of urgency this weekend. They were just like, you know what? We're just CM Punk is not the end all of this show. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna do what we always have done, but way before he got here, we're gonna put on a fantastic event, and we're gonna do some story stuff, and we're just gonna make it work. And that's what AEW is getting back to. They're just getting back to making it work.
Yeah,
And they made it work.
they did. I mean, these were 2 great fucking pay-per-views. And I mean, I think I even messaged it. I think I even posted it on Twitter. Payback was mostly okay. Like, it wasn't a great show, but I was like, it wasn't bad. So we had a pretty strong weekend of wrestling. The Payback episode is going to be interesting, though, because it is like this year's most okayest pay-per-view. I guess I would say. There were some points I like. There were some things I liked, some things I didn't like. So we'll talk about that when we talk about it as a little teaser for everybody.
I do
But yeah,
want
man.
to say before we start like wrapping up here, I just want to say, and I want to reiterate this every time we have nitpicks about like a 4-way that the wrong person won.
This is our opinions on this.
No, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if people disagree with our opinions or whatever. Wrestling's in a good spot. It's just in a great spot right now.
Yeah.
I'll continue to say that.
Yeah, the AEW women division has some kinks it needs to work out. I think it just needs some dedicated, creative mind to it and some more time.
I can say the same about WWE's women's division, honestly, but we'll get into that when we get to Payback.
But like overall, wrestling is just in a really good spot right now.
Wrestling is in a great fucking spot right now. It's so good.
Yeah,
we are in a boom period right now in pro wrestling, and it's been a while since we have a period like this. Probably since the mid 2010s, where wrestling has been as popular as it has been.
Yeah.
And I just hope that this continues. You got your major promotions. I mean, hell, you got your minor promotions like Impact and Ring of Honor, GCW doing their thing. And people are into that as well. I mean, we got so much good pro wrestling out here right now. You just need to go watch it.
I mean, it's not just new American like competition. I mean, pro wrestling's evolved to the point now where New Japan and Noah are working together. Like, Japanese companies who like historically have not had good business relationships are like, hey, let's do stuff together. Like, I think even New Japan and All Japan, I think, had a thing.
I think
recently.
MLW and AAA, I think, have partnered up recently, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure though, but yeah.
Strengthen the Wrestleverse. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, we had fucking Gringo Loco on AEW TV. Yeah, I mean, we had Gringo Loco and Vikingo back on AEW TV. Like, we're just getting cameos. We're getting cameos from other companies on American TV wrestling. Like, it's showing, hey, look, there's other companies out there.
If only we can get WWE to do some of that stuff.
The walled garden of.
There was that one year where Mickey James climbed over the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble.
So there's a whole pool of other wrestling. Dip our toe in.
Yeah.
Like that was the energy where Tony Khan's like, goggles, dive in.
Yeah.
Scuba gear.
And I think as we get even as we start like nitpicking is really what we're doing and what we're going to do over Payback. Like the product is still very good, and
it is.
This would be like A tier in 2007, but we're
Absolutely.
not 2007 anymore.
If you had shown this to 1998 me, my mind would have been fucking blown.
Exactly.
like I love seeing fucking Diamond Dallas Page like wrestle, and I mean back in the late 90s, it wasn't modern wrestling. Still, it hadn't reached that like point yet. It was still very old school wrestling. But if you had shown this to me, I would have been like, holy shit, wrestling is awesome. Like, wrestling is sweet.
But it just shows you the potential of where wrestling could go. And I think it could go to greater heights. Not only in this year, but in the coming years after this. And I think we're just scratching the surface as far as what the Wrestleverse is capable of. I just want to see more of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
that's all I had.
That's all we had. I mean, I think we share our thoughts. These are great fucking shows.
They are.
They are.
I think this also proves, like, I don't want them to do it often, but if this is like the mentality of things moving forward, like, hey, we're going to do All Out or All In next year at Wembley again, and then we're going to have All Out a week later. Let's kind of do it as like thing built up to next week. But,
I'd like it. I would have a hope that they would do 2 different shows with 2 different rosters.
Mm-hmm.
I would think I would like that better as 2 completely different shows with 2 completely.
You have a
different
big enough
rosters.
roster.
Yes.
I was thinking about it actually before we started. I think All In, they put the star power. They put the names that people knew.
Yeah.
Where All Out was, here's your AEW pay-per-view for the AEW fans.
Workhorses.
yeah, here's all the workhorses. Here's a bunch of people that aren't usually on TV, maybe could be here also.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, because I mean, Miro and Hobbs, they probably wouldn't have been put on All In, you know, especially Miro hasn't been on TV until Collision, really.
So it's like the penultimate match of the night.
Yeah. Your Battle Royale, a lot of those guys aren't on TV right now. People like Tony Nese, Serpentico, he's your jobber talent. So it's nice seeing all these guys here. It's like, hey, AEW fans, here's your guys. But for that big show, that international show that was getting news coverage and stuff like that, it's like, here's all of the big names. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. And fuck, we have another one in October for Wrestle Dream.
Yep.
Which, you know the video of the guy gaming who's like, oh no, like that video. I might be the one that's seen it. It's this guy like sitting there, he's doing something, and he's just, oh no, and it's like Tony Khan when he schedules a New Japan AEW show on the same day that New Japan already has a scheduled show.
Oh
so,
no.
So he doesn't have like the big names on the New Japan roster.
Yeah.
He's getting all the up and comers for there.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, Tony, you didn't look at the calendars, did you? Like,
Yeah, because that's like a month from now.
yes, it's a month from now. And
Jeez.
oh,
Good luck
fuck,
with that, buddy.
yeah. So I think we'll have a few weeks before our next big pay-per-view show. So, but yeah, that is it for me.
That's all I got.
I did say this in the last episode. You all are seeing this episode on the feed. For Without Context, you'll notice that the other episodes are missing. You can now find them on their own show, Square Triangle. I have created a separate feed for the Square Triangle episodes to get it into its own little category. So if you don't want to listen to the rest of the Without Context shows, you don't have to. If you don't want to go searching through all the Without Context shows to find the Square Triangle shows, you can now search it on its own. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's all going to go up at the same place anyway.
If you're watching on YouTube, disregard that last minute.
Yeah, so if you're watching on any of the podcast services, it's under its own show now, Squared Triangle. Just look it up. You should be able to find it.
Mhm.
And yeah, at least we'll have audio for this episode, right? So
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, that was a little bit of a mess up, but we got through it.
We got there.
So yeah, that is it for us here at Square Triangle. Thank you all for listening. Follow the Twitter, follow the YouTube, follow us on any podcast service. All the links and everything are in the flow code. Also, since I have to repeat it from the last episode also, I've updated all of the episode descriptions on podcast services, so they're more organized, and you should be able to click links easier to find us. So enjoy listening to all of that, enjoy all the back catalogs and stuff. And yeah, we'll be back to being more consistent with all of this. So it's been a really weird few months of just no Without Context episode.
It really has.
But yeah,
We all
So-
have 9 to 5s. I don't know.
we
what to tell
do.
you.
We do. So thank you all for listening. I'm SharkyHat, joined with X and Deca, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.